Yo, you guys, this is Blacklist of the Abyss, and you're watching my review for World Trigger Episode 2. Okay, and listen, all right. This is giving me so much trouble. Okay, and listen, all right. I got back late one Saturday, so I couldn't actually watch the video then or watch the episode. So I was planning on doing it on Sunday, but on Sunday I didn't feel well. Plus, on top of not feeling well, I had a ton of schoolwork that I had to get done by that day. So I ended up not being able to do it then either. So instead, I did it on Monday, and I actually did record the review when I was about to render in stuff, and then I realized that the audio, for some reason, was lagging behind by like 20 seconds. Okay? Plus there were some, and I was just going to say, screw it, who cares? I'm uploaded anyway. But then I realized that there were parts of the video, parts of the review where the sound just disappeared entirely. I'm like there was like 30 seconds of silence. I'm like, I can't, like, I just, So then I had to end up recording the review again, and this is that re-recording of the review. So, yeah, yeah, this is giving me quite a few problems, but it's finally up. Okay, it's finally, all right, finally up. All right. Um, So this episode starts off with the bullies from last week. They end up meeting border agents, which was not in the manga, by the way. We didn't actually see the meeting. All right. Um, but after that, we see Miwa, all right, and someone else. Okay, someone else. I'll just say that someone else. They arrive on the scene and they see that the neighbor's already been destroyed. So they don't really know who did it. They're trying to contact HQ, see like, oh well, is there another squad that got here before us? Well, no, it wasn't. Okay, and they were talking about how, wow, the work, this looks like an A rank job, which, you know, A rank is usually a pretty high rank in anime. Like, it's only like that in S rank, so, you know, that means Yuma's pretty good. All right, he's not S rank, but he's still pretty freaking good. So yeah, but yeah, they're trying to figure out who it was that did this, and we all know it was Yuma, and yeah, it was, it was Yuma. All right, and as soon as they try to, ask that question, who was it that did this? Of course, in typical anime fashion, they show Yuma and Osamu right after that. Which, for the record, Osamu looked really bad here. Like, he did not look drawn well at all. Okay, like, I think it was like a minute 48 seconds into the episode or something like that, and you see Osamu, and it's like, what? Like, like, he just looked so weird. He just did not look drawn well at all. Oh wait, I swear to God, if you start screwing stuff up this early on, seriously, get your act together. All right, but anyway, moving on. So Yuma and Osamu, we see them, and Yuma starts telling us some information. Okay, he confirms that all neighbors are actually humanoid type people like him. Okay, which is like, oh well, we obviously, from what he said last week, we could tell that some of them are, but now he says all of them are, which is completely different than what we were led to believe, because we're told like, oh well, these monsters are neighbors. How can you say that neighbors are human, or at least look human, when we have these monsters here? So Yuma says, well, hold on, those aren't actually neighbors. Those are just soldiers created by neighbors. Okay, all right, so that's, I why would they be sending, like, what, so what's the purpose of creating these things then? Like if the neighbors aren't all like mindless, monsters who do nothing but attack, then what? And they created these things, they had to have had a purpose for it, right? So what is that purpose? That's what we need to try and figure out. But as Yuma and Osamu continue to talk, Yuma ends up getting hungry, and he pulls out like all this money and gets the attention of like everybody in the street, including a bunch of delinquents. Okay, so one of them goes and runs into Yuma, claims that Yuma actually broke his leg. So Yuma says, well, if you want money for me breaking your leg, I guess I might as well break it then. So boom, he goes and breaks the dude's leg. Yeah, Yuma, man. Yuma's a trip. Yuma is a trip, okay? Like, I mean, in fact, I don't think I've seen that before. I get a person actually say, "Well, if you're claiming I did it, then I might as well do it." I don't think I've seen that before. If I have, it's been a while. So I thought like that. I thought that was kind of funny. Osamu didn't like it, but whatever. All right, he tries to tell a human to behave himself while he goes and gets food, and more delinquents show up. So then I think they were making this excuse like, "Oh man, my excuse me, my parents are dying, and I need money for their treatment or something like that." Um, and Yuma's like, "Well, okay, how about this? I'll give you the money, but only if you're telling the truth. If you're lying, then I'm going to smack you." All right. In the manga, he said he was going to beat them up, but whatever, not a big deal. Um, and the guy's like, "Oh yeah, yeah, I'm telling the truth, man. Just trust me." Which obviously, with the look in with the look in with the look he had on his face, it was pretty obvious he was lying, and Yuma figured it out too. But one thing to keep in mind is that the camera zoomed into his eyes. Okay, so there's like an actual reason for that. They didn't just do that for the heck of it. There was an actual reason for that. So just keep that in mind. All right, but obviously he was able to figure out that they were lying. They were not very good liars at all. The freaking 5-year-old kid could have figured out that they were lying, all right? But Yuma figures out that they're lying and beats them up. so, so Osamu comes back, sees this, and he's just like, "Okay, listen, Yuma, you you got to stop trying to use violence to solve everything. You can't just use force all the time." Okay, and Yuma responds saying, "Well, listen, I understand that those are the rules of Japan, but if the people who approach me aren't going to follow the rules, then why should I follow the rules when I deal with them?" You know? And he actually ends up quoting his father, and he says that rules make the world, all right? Rules make the world work, but they don't protect you, all right? Only your own strength can protect you. And that's something he firmly believes in, but he realizes that in Japan, something like that just isn't going to fly. So he says, "Okay, Osamu, fine. Teach me the rules of Japan. That way I can try and actually abide by them." So Osamu agrees, and then they start to walk away, and Yuma gets hit by a car again, and we actually see his face crack. Okay, and then he just heals, and it's like clearly the guy's inhuman. So Osamu sees that, and he's like, "Yeah, this dude, he's definitely a neighbor." Because we saw he had his doubts about whether Yuma was really a neighbor or not, but now those doubts are gone. He's definitely a neighbor. All right. Um, so after that, we move on to the next day. Bullies are there again. They don't remember anything because they had their memories altered by border. Okay, so Yuma goes and stomps the ground, creates a freaking like shock wave that scares them essentially and makes them back up and let Yuma and Osamu walk by without trying to take their money and crap. Okay. And the first years in the class, they all start praising praising Yuma for this and telling him how awesome he was for being able to do that. And they start asking him about himself, and including where he's from. What sports he's good at, because apparently he's good at something to be able to stomp like that. Okay, and he ends up telling them, "Well, where I grew up, all the areas were the only sport I really knew of was war." Which not really a sport, but you know what he means, all right? And people are like, "Wait, what?" And then it turns out that every country he's been to has been this war-torn country where there's some conflict going on. And Osamu hears that, and he starts to realize what I was talking about last week, about how his past experiences have been responsible for shaping his personality to make it what it is, and give him this, survival of the fittest type of mentality, and this lack of empathy towards people, and just saying like, "Hey, you deserve what you get." All right, so he's starting to realize what I was talking about last week, and his father obviously had an impact on him too. Um, and after that, one of the kids starts talking about the neighbors, and how ever since like the 4.5 years ago that the neighbors first appeared, there have been like 400 people that have gone missing. Okay, which like if it's been 4.5 years and you still haven't found them yet, then you're probably not going to find them, especially since the city looks like it's been pretty well fixed up. People are living in not in peace, but they're not worried about the neighbors because border is there and they've got everything under control. So if everything's like not fine, but like everything's fine, like if you if the city's in a state like that and you still haven't found these people, then the chances are they're not there. Okay, so again, I was talking earlier about why would the neighbors create these soldiers and send them to this world. Maybe that's why. Maybe they need those people for some reason. Maybe they kidnapped the people and took them to the other side of the gate, because we know it's possible to go from one end to the other, right? Because Yuma came through and all the neighbors come through. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you can go the opposite direction and go through the gate into the neighbor world. Okay, um, but it's just a possibility. I mean, if 400 people are missing and they haven't been found yet when the city is in that kind of state, and you have the existence of this other world and gates that open to that other world, then I'm just saying, you got these neighbors creating these soldiers specifically to go into that world and accomplish some unknown goal. I'm just saying, maybe it's possible. Maybe it's possible. Maybe So, um, yeah, we hear about those people being missing. We also hear about the guidance beacons that Border created. Okay. And those beacons, essentially, what they do is they limit the areas that the gates can actually open up in. Okay, so you know that they have those forbidden zones. Well, the reason why they can actually create those forbidden zones is because they have limited the opening to gates to those zones. So they can't just pop up anywhere. Okay. Now, the one kid that was talking all this time starts fanboying over Border and talking about how he wants to join one day. And Yuma's about to was about to ruin Osamu's secret and reveal it and say, "Well, if you want to join, just ask him." All right. But then Osamu, stops him, pulls him away, and as they're leaving to go to the other room or farther down to another part of the room or whatever, we see this little thing like in the hallway or in the doorway or whatever, all right, in the darkness, all right. And it's like, well, that clearly that thing is not some like human or animal or plant or something. Like that's got to be some type of, like, we've seen Bamsters, right? At the end of the episode we see Marmods, right? Maybe this is another type of soldier that the neighbors created. It has to be. It has to be, because what else could, like, did Border create it to start spying on people? Like, what? Plus, we have Replica. Replica exists. So no, this thing's got to be some type of soldier created by the neighbors. Okay, all right. And as soon as we see it, all of a sudden a gate opens outside of the forbidden zones and at the school. So that thing had to have had something to do with that. It just had to. Okay, it had to. It's the only thing that makes sense. I mean, unless it's something that we just haven't heard about yet. Maybe that's just a surveillance type of soldier. I don't know, but it's probably it's probably had something to do with the gate opening at the school. And the timing is just too quick, back. But nah, it had to have something to do with that little soldier. Okay, but yeah, the gate opens at the school. Two Marmots come out. We see another shot of Chica, which again, that wasn't in the manga, so at least Toei is foreshadowing her. Yeah, so props to them for that, I guess. I mean, I, my, I have so much doubt that Toei will be able to actually adapt this well throughout. And it's just like, uh, oh man, Toei. They have such a bad brand. Like, actually, their brand is just awful. People just don't trust Toei with everything, whether it's ruining One Piece's pacing or ruining Toriko with crap, or the CG in Sailor Moon. Like, people always have something to complain about with Toei, and usually it's valid. Well, no, I'm getting so off topic now. Forget about it. Forget about it. Okay, forget about it. All right. Point is that we see Chica here. All right, and yeah, those Marmots show up, and Osamu decides that in order to fight the Marmots, he's going to activate his trigger, reveal his secret to the school, and try to save people. Which, we see in the preview that people from the school, students do actually see him with his trigger activated, with his border uniform on and everything. So, I mean, that's not. I don't think I ever talked about that, did I? The transformation sequence and what the. Well, no, they haven't actually gotten into that yet. So let me screw it. Screw it. It's yeah. Nah, you'll find out next week. Okay, you'll find out next week. But yeah, that's it. Like it's possible that Border could like take in the entire school and alter their memories, but it seems like it'd be like too big of a hassle. Actually, no, it'd have to be more than just a school because if a gate is opening outside the Forbidden Zone, that's like a big scoop. Like, there has to be someone who is not a part of the school who did not see Osamu, but did see the gate open outside the school. Plus, if the news starts reporting and stuff, and they'd have to take in the entire freaking city. No. So yeah, they're not probably not going to alter these people's memories. It'd just be too big of a job. It really would. And how do you know you couldn't risk missing somebody, so you'd have to do everybody instead, and not just assume that, oh well, he doesn't know, she doesn't know. You can't do that. So they'd have to take in the entire. No, they're not doing that. Screw that. Nah, that's what I'd say. I'd say screw it. They found out that this guy who isn't even there are famous border people. Like, look at Miwa. He has his own squad. Osamu's just by himself all the time. Like, he clearly isn't that high up on the totem pole. All right. If he's not at HQ, like, you know, he doesn't have his own squad, or he's not even assigned to a squad, is he? I don't even know. Well, I do know because I read the manga, but you know, try to pretend to not know. So you. I'm just rambling now at this point. I really am just rambling. No, screw it. I'll just end the review here. This is 5 minutes longer than the last time I did it. Wow. When I recorded this video yesterday, it was 5 minutes shorter. Wow. Well, 6 minutes at this. Actually, yeah, 6 minutes now. I'll just end the review here. I'll give this episode a 6.5 out of 10. It was okay. I mean, most of the episode was just Osamu and Yuma talking. You know. At the very end, we started to get some information, some hints and everything, but most of it was just them talking and like dealing with delinquents and stuff, which was enjoyable. But it's not like I'm looking at that and saying, "Wow, this is so cool! This is so awesome!" You know, it was fine. And it was a good. It was a cool episode. I'll give it a 6.5 out of 10, and that's that. Okay, how about that? 6.5 out of 10, and yeah, that's that. Rate, comment, subscribe. I should have just said this before I drank the soda. Like only like 5, 6 more words. Well, whatever. Rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.